Hi, this is ESPN's Dave Lamont, and you're listening to the Sports Objective Podcast, the unofficial podcast of the Pirates.
Oh, I'm a real pirate fan, I don't fear not a man. Me, I'm a participant, you just the audience. Me, it's in my nature to see just how loud it can get before, during, and after the game, man. Yo, 15 minutes after 15 sips of this carbonated beverage got me ready to rip a hole in the ear of anyone who dare sits and screams for any other team with their lips. This is pirate country, so poppy, we don't mix. If you ain't rockin' purple and gold, then you don't fit. Now you don't gotta worry, they're trying to throw fists, but all you know to get salty, I ain't talk about chips. It's not your stadium, don't be surprised if the cheesing all hard and get thrown the evil eye. For some it's just a game, but numbers are never live. You ever seen this much love for a team in your whole lives? Screaming at the ref, wheezing out of breath, steaming out the neck like a fight for death. That's how we bringing it. What you thinking?
Welcome into the TSO Lockerroom right here on the Sports Objective, and we have with us right now Bubba Rosenbaum. How are you, man?
I'm doing well, guys. How are y'all?
Doing great.
Doing
Matt
good.
Semenza, man, how are you?
What's going on, guys? Always good to be with you. Looking forward to catching up with Jireh today. Having a great season so far and happy to be here.
And Bubba, like you said, we've got a very special guest, part of our TSO locker room each and every week, right?
Absolutely. Each and every Monday, we'll catch up with Jireh Wilson as well as Ryan Jones. And Jireh, welcome into the show.
Thank you for having me.
Glad to have you, Jireh. And you guys starting off, appreciate you coming on. We'll talk a little about you and then obviously jump into the bye week. But tell everybody a little bit about yourself and why you decided to become a Pirate.
Well, my name is Jireh Wilson. I'm from Jacksonville, North Carolina, about an hour and a half south of Greenville. I went to Northside High School, which is right in the middle of Jacksonville. I come from a military background. Both my parents did 20 years in the Marine Corps and are now retired. So growing up, I moved around a lot. But I call my hometown Jacksonville because that's where I spent most of my life. I stayed there about 8 years out of my childhood before I came to ECU. And I decided to come to ECU because really, when I came on my visits, I liked the family atmosphere it had with the coaching staff that I met with here. And then also when I came on my official, and a couple of teammates, recruits that they had that I met prior to committing, it's just we kind of all had like a bond and like decided like we would all commit and try to change this thing around, turn this thing around here in Greenville.
No doubt about it. And Bubba, I know with I was going to pitch it to you, Bubba, because I know with the Pirates, Jireh is part of that group that we're really proud of. We call it Jireh back in the day, right before the Peach Bowl in 1990. There was a group of guys that we call the Foundation. And I think this is like Foundation 2.0. Don't you, Bubba?
Yeah, no doubt about it, Dave. You really see the foundation being laid under Coach Houston and his staff. But I actually wanted, before we talk about him becoming a Pirate, and Jireh, tell folks, and you were referencing your military background. Your parents were in the Marines, stationed over in Japan. So just talk about, I know you said you spent a few years over there in Japan before moving to the States. Tell folks about that.
It was like 2002 to 2005. So I was like 2 to 5. So I don't really remember much other than really just going to school. That's really all I remember from that. And I remember one time because we lived on base, I remember one time actually going into the city and stuff like that. That's all I really remember from those years out there.
Talk about, you said Jacksonville being your Eastern North Carolina guy. I know you have to be feel proud to play now for Mike Houston, the Pirates, and you have a lot of your family, I'm sure, that can come up from the Jacksonville area, right?
Yes. My dad, he comes to. I don't think he's missed a home game since I've been here, to be honest. But yeah, well, my mom, she lives in Florida, so she can't make it to all the games. But yeah, my dad, he he comes just about every home game. My little brother, he comes. Well, when he was in high school, he comes to every game, but he's in college now, so he's a little more busy. So he comes to the game that he can make it to. But yeah, my family makes it to every home game.
So, Jireh, take us back to your days at Northside High before arriving to Greenville. Just tell us, and you're obviously extremely athletic, and you've shown the flexibility to move from safety to more of a linebacker role. But in addition to football, did you play other sports, and basketball, track, anything like that?
Oh yeah, in high school I played football, basketball, and track. We won the state championship for basketball in 2017, my junior year at Northside. For the 2A class. But yeah, I played basketball. I played a lot of basketball growing up. It's my second favorite sport. Basketball is something I like to do like outside of the season, off season. I run a lot of pickup games at home because that's really all anybody does in Jacksonville because it's not too much to do anyway. So all we do is just go to the gym, play basketball. And then I love track too in high school. I wish I would have took it more serious than what I did, to be honest.
So another two-sport athlete, Jireh. Go ahead, Bubba.
Very quick, I wanted to follow up, Matt, and while we were talking his basketball career, just now at East Carolina, obviously you guys are focused on what's taking place on the football field, but during the off season, who on the team may be the best dunker?
The best dunker?
Right.
The best dunker? Probably Josiah Hatfield. Probably him. I'd have to go with him.
Okay.
Josiah's 5'11", so he's pretty explosive.
Yeah, he's shorter, so it's more impressive with the vertical that he has. He can get up there like with ease. So I would probably say him because he's shorter as well.
Okay. That's pretty impressive for a guy who's 5'11" to be able to get up like that. Since Bubba asked the question, since we're on kind of like, other guys on the team, who would you say is the most vocal guy on a team? Every football team has one guy that's always talking, always chirping. Who would you say is that guy on the defense that's just always, sort of, chirping on the field and maybe doing a little trash talking?
Oh, trash talking? You said trash talking or like being like a leader vocal? Which one you asking?
Let's start off with the trash talking. Who's the best trash talker?
Trash talker on the team. On defense, I probably have to go with X. Xavier Smith, I got to go with him on the defense. Right. Yeah. He always has something to say to the opponent every game. Even if they're not responding to him, he's going to keep going. It gets him going, though, so.
Yeah, what I've heard of X in the media, I can definitely see that.
Yeah, it's definitely X. Yeah, without a doubt, yeah. It's definitely him.
Jireh, what about the leader on the defense? Who would be the most vocal?
X plays both of those roles for us, to be honest. He's really a leader, not just for defense, but for the whole team, vocal-wise. I don't want to say vocal-wise because he leads by example too, but he's the most vocal leader on our defense.
What about Bruce? Bruce is obviously he's been in the program a long time at that Mike linebacker role, and so just tell us about Bruce. Is he more lead by example?
I would say he's more lead by example, but he's vocal too. Bruce, you know what you're gonna get. You know what you get out of him every day. He comes to practice every day. All the lifts in the summer. He leaves everything on the field. He's vocal too, but he's especially vocal when like things aren't going our way, and like that's when he'll step in and be like we need to pick it up. Like if he's saying something, then everybody knows like, all right, we need to get going.
Jireh, Houston coming up this week obviously presents a big challenge. The Cougs have a good offense. What do you see out of them? They're pretty balanced, passing and running the ball. What do you see out of Houston that presents a challenge?
I would say probably their passing game presents more of a challenge, if anything. They got a quarterback that's really good, especially in the quick game. And then they have receivers that can get down the field. They got a lot of track guys and also a lot of smaller guys that are quick and fast. So it's harder to kind of get your hands on them and stuff like that. And they're very elusive. So I would say more they're good. And I would say the stress for us as a defense would be passing their passing game.
So you mentioned they're good in the quick game, I guess the kind of underneath passes. So how do you kind of counteract that on defense? I mean, do you play up more? Do you more man coverage? How do you try to counteract what they do in the quick passing game?
I would say more of get hands on them early for one, because with their speed, if you get them going and you let them make their moves and do what they want to do in space, then it's going to be hard to stop them. So it's more of just us being able to get our hands on them and also having good QB vision to see where he wants to go with the football.
Jireh,
talk about the when you have.
Go ahead, Dave.
I was just going to ask you, Jireh, about the you guys have, I think, a great defensive coordinator in Blake Harrell. Can you talk a little bit about him? Because you guys are so much fun. Matt's a defensive guy back in the 90s under Coach Logan, and he and I love defense, and it's very exciting. You guys are like swarming all over the place. It looks like you guys are having a lot of fun on defense.
About Coach Harrell, yeah, Coach Harrell brings a lot of energy every day. He's always harping on having juice as a player and as the coaching staff, just having energy, juice, playing fast, running and hitting. Just always having being high energy, opportunistic. Always talks about creating turnovers. Just everything you want out of a coach, he brings it to the table. He brings it every day, even when we hour and a half into practice, and you know how I get sometimes as a player. You just like, I'm ready for this to be over with. You know, you get tired. He's always up. He's always up, going, always talking to us, just always encouraging. Just Coach Harrell brings a lot of positive energy every day. He brings it every day. I can't. There's really not much more I can say about him. That's just him. He's always going to be him every day of the week.
Yeah, he's done a great job, I think. And Jireh, when you look at this defense, you know, what was the mood of the defense, or really just the team, you know, going back to that UCF game? I thought the defense played outstanding. You know, I thought you guys were flying around. I thought you did enough to win that night. Unfortunately, you know, a few things went against, you know, our team, and we couldn't quite get the win. But I thought defensively we played well enough to come back to Greenville with a W. So what was the mood like after that game? And you know, obviously, what is the team working on, you know, in the bye week?
Defensively, mood after the game. Obviously, you feel good. You want to feel good about the great things we did. One, holding it on 20 points. That's the first time that's happened to UCF in I don't know how many years, like 5, 6 years at home, and then like 3 or 4 years just period. But also then it's just a few mistakes we made that led to points. Like we had a drive, we had them like 3rd and long. We had a couple offsides penalties. They ended up driving and kicking a field goal. That's 3 points. There was another drive where we had busted assignments. Like everybody just wasn't on the same page. They get a big play, get into the red zone. That led to another 3 points right there. So it's just we try not to get too high, but also don't get too low as well. Because obviously we're doing good things, so we don't want to get too low. But all in all, we know we played well, but we know perfection isn't possible. But that's what we try to pursue every game as a defense. So we weren't perfect. So obviously it was things that we know we need to work on. But we keep our heads up, keep going. We did feel good though after the game though. We know we played well.
Jireh, we're at the halfway point in the season. Coming off an off week, you guys are 3-3. The goal, I guess, externally is to go to a bowl game, get to 6-6. If you do what you did the first half of the season, we get there. If we can go 3-3 these next 6, but I guess the goal is to win out. What is the big picture talk? Take us behind the scenes, with Coach Houston this past week during the off week. What you feel comfortable sharing. What's the mood of the locker room as we're going into Houston and we're getting into the second half of the season to, try to get to a bowl game and beyond that? How important is that to the team, to turn this thing around and at least to make a bowl game? And what's the attitude like as we get ready to go down to Houston to take on a 5-1 Cougar team?
I would say in the locker room, the mood is good. We felt like we let a couple games slip away from us that we should have had, but like we put it behind us and stay in the past for too long. But as for the goals, we definitely want to make a bowl game. Just win out. We talk every week. We got 6 games left. It's a 6-week season. We look at it as go 1-0 every week. So like play the game, the clock resets every week. We just approach it like that, one game at a time, slowly, so we can make this bowl game and get in the postseason play. But the mood in the locker room, we feel like we can win. We feel like we can win out. We're extremely confident in that. Coach just harps on. We just got to practice hard every day. What you do in practice will definitely translate to the game. So just try to come to practice mentally focused every day. Make the game plan translate to the practice field so that it'll translate to the game day on Saturday. And also, he just harps on things in practice, just being physical, flying around, being where you're supposed to be, just little things defensively, like leveraging the ball, just everything that shows up on game day, from also special teams, just everything that shows up on game day, he harps on to perfect it in practice so it translates to game day.
Jireh, give us a glimpse behind the scenes on the open week. Obviously, that meant more reps for some of the younger players in the program. Tell us, some of those young and up and comers, some guys for Pirate Nation to keep an eye on here in future seasons, or maybe even later this season.
Defensively,
yeah. So or offensively for that matter.
Oh yeah, and the reps for the younger guys definitely did go up. Because we actually talked about a couple weeks ago that, like you said, that's the future of our program. So any little reps they can get will help in the long run with just them getting a little experience and stuff like that. Some young guys to look out for. That's tough. I would say we have a running back freshman, Pop. What's his name? Joseph McKay. I call him Pop, number 23, the running back.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. We got some young receivers who are in their second year in the program. I would say there's Tyler Savage, number 9, Tajee Hudson. I would say Josiah Hatfield. He's not young, but I would say watch out for him to come on in the second half of the season. I think he's gonna come along. Defensively, we have some young linebackers, Taylor Jackson, Eric Doctor. Safety, we have Julius, number 32. We have him. I expect him to come along, especially for the future. Who else? Off the top of my head, Demetrius Mooney. He just made his switch to defense this year. He gets better every day. I could tell he definitely is within the swing of things now, especially him. He might come on the second half of the season, but definitely in the future. That's all I can think.
Yeah, you bring up Demetrius Mooney. Demetrius, obviously, he did some good things at running back before making the position change, but he's really been a special team standout thus far, and getting down the field and hitting some people.
Yeah, definitely. That's what he's known for out in the team. He'll definitely hit somebody.
During the off week, as you look ahead down the schedule, after Houston, we have the short week. Come back home and take on South Florida on Thursday night, so not quite as much preparation time. Did you guys – I know the coaching staff, I'm sure they worked on the game plan for South Florida. Did you guys work on South Florida at all this past week with having a short week after Houston? And also Navy coming up in November, the triple option, something you don't see every day. Have you guys worked on that all yet, or is that something that you won't get into until we play Navy?
They went over USF, but we didn't actually practice it. But I know the coaches staff have gone over through the game plan with USF and Navy. Yeah, we work on Navy throughout the summer, the spurts throughout the season. Yeah, we've been working on Navy for months because of, like you said, the triple option is something you don't see, and it's something you can't just have a couple days of practice on it and like know what you're doing with it. But we spend most of our time on Houston.
You know, that Navy game, obviously looking way ahead. Houston's up next in what matters, but has little to do with you guys. But going back to 2006, East Carolina has beaten Navy exactly one time. That's a game Pirate fans would really love to win. If we could find a way to go to Annapolis in November and get a win over the midshipmen.
That's what we definitely would like to get ourselves.
Well, let's do it.
Yes, sir.
Now, Jireh, as we're winding this initial visit down, give Pirate Nation and tell Pirate fans what Jireh Wilson's about, off the field in terms of, some hobbies and, your interests, favorite NFL team, things of that nature.
Okay. Favorite NFL team, Philadelphia Eagles, a diehard fan since I started watching football. My interest, really off the field, I really just chill, really watch TV, play the games sometimes like Call of Duty, Madden. Listen to music a lot of rap music. Sometimes I listen to like old R&B music, like early 2000s and stuff like that. But I mostly listen to like now the modern rap music, so like Kodak, Lil Baby, stuff like that. My favorite rapper is Kodak, a Florida rapper. Hobbies, like I said earlier, outside of the season, I mostly just spend most of my time really playing a lot of basketball, just like chilling with my friends and stuff. I don't really do too much, to be honest. And then just do little stuff, little activities like sometimes top golf in the off season, just little stuff like that. I don't really do too much, to be honest. I really just chill with my friends and we do whatever we do.
Dave,
do you ever get any old school rap, little Rum DMC, little Snoop Dogg, little MC Hammer, Tupac, anything like that?
I do a little bit, but my mom from New York, so I was mostly listening to
Biggie,
like like Biggie, Nas, and stuff like that. Jay-Z, more East Coast rappers, because since my mom's from New York, that's mostly when it comes to old rappers, that's mostly what I listen to.
Okay.
Dave, we have Johnny Robertson chiming in on Facebook saying, he says, "Hey, Jireh, congratulations on a great season so far. Pro Football Focus has you graded as the second highest Pirate defender. Good luck the rest of the way."
Johnny, thank you. Thank you.
So, Jireh, what are as you look forward to Houston this week? Obviously, a huge opportunity. Like you mentioned earlier, the team is going to take it one game at a time. When you look at this schedule, every game is really winnable for you guys. From my perspective. So, looking forward to this game here. What are some of the keys to coming out of Houston with a W?
Well, you said what are some of the keys?
Yes.
They also have a great defense as well. I think like number 4 in the nation. So we know it's a defensive game. Defensively as a unit, we're looking at is be the best defense on the field. If we win the battle defensively, we feel like we'll come out with the W. That's the most simplest way I can put it.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to seeing you guys get it done.
Yes, sir.
Jireh, we've certainly enjoyed the visit and appreciated your time here this evening. Best of luck down at Houston, and we look forward to catching up with you next week prior to the Thursday night matchup against South Florida.
Thank you. I appreciate you for having me.
Thanks, Jireh.
No problem.
Now we'd like to welcome in
I'm I'm doing good. How are y'all?
Ryan, can you hear us okay? Okay.
Yeah, I hear
Doing
it's
well,
kind of
doing well.
spotty,
We
but I
appreciate you
hear you
coming
pretty
on.
good.
Okay. So, Ryan, just tell folks, obviously, you're a Charlotte native, played at Mallard Creek High School. Anybody that knows anything about high school football in the state of North Carolina knows about the success of that program. So just take us
Yeah.
back before you became an Oklahoma Sooner and talk about your recruitment and what made you decide on Lincoln Riley and the Sooners.
So I started, my first offer was NC State, and I was like the end of my like freshman year, going to my sophomore year. And then I met Coach Riley like right when he got at OU. He called me on the phone, and then like our relationship kind of built over time. And then I think he came to about like 2 or 3 of my games, and like we used to stay real connected and everything. So that was always like, it was far, but he always treated me well. And I mean, the program was winning, so that was like a big thing for me.
So talking about that Oklahoma program, in addition to Lincoln Riley, who we're very familiar with here at East Carolina with everything that he did with the Pirate offense, he was obviously
Yeah.
hired and brought to East Carolina by Ruff and McNeil. So tell us, your relationship with Coach Ruff, because at Oklahoma you played on the defensive side of the ball.
Right. Yeah, so Coach Ruff, him and my grandparents, they actually grew up in the same area, so they knew of Ruff, and they kind of told me about him. And then, like once I met him officially, like at OU, he's just one of the best people, just people person I met, like coach wise and everything. He truly cares for his players. He go out of his way to make sure you was okay. He check up on you, just like he'll have real conversation with you. So he's one of the best coaches I've had.
Ryan, talk about the fact you transferred obviously to East Carolina. What made you want to be a Pirate?
Honestly, I wanted to be closer to home, and I knew, like seeing from how the offense is and like the weapons that we had, I knew we could do something special. So really, I just want to be close to home and just be on a team where I know we can produce and just kind of like break the cycle, like get that or close to conference championship or whatever, but just somewhere where I can like build and grow as a person and as a player.
Ron, you've had some moments so far as tight end. You made a couple big plays. Obviously, you're a great athlete. Are you just waiting for the game where you know it's coming, where you're going to have a breakout game where you're going to put up multiple touchdowns and big yards? Because I think we all see it. It's going to happen at some point.
Yeah, I mean, going into every game, that's my mindset. I just kind of want to do the best I can. I mean, whatever the team needs, I'm going to do. So, I mean, I've been doing that since I got out of high school. So, I mean, I'm just an athlete, and I love to play football, and I do what I can.
Ryan, I have to ask you, so obviously at Oklahoma, you played on the defensive side of the ball, had a lot of success there, and now obviously a big move to offense. Has it ever been discussed that you would play possibly a little of both, like maybe a little put you in on a few defensive packages as well, a little Ironman football?
Nah, we've never talked about it. I mean, I'd be definitely ready for something like that. I mean, I'd enjoy it. So I still have my moments where I miss defense, but offense is where my heart's at for real. So I mean, but if it comes up, I'll be ready for it.
All right.
Playing on both sides of the ball, Ryan, is something you had done in high school, I believe. So kind of building off Matt's point and question there, as far as playing both sides, just talk about how your experience as a linebacker at Oklahoma, how that helped prepare you for what you're currently doing at tight end in terms of, understanding coverages, when to sit down and how to run certain routes and things of that nature.
Yeah, so when I was at OU, I mean, every school kind of runs the same concepts. So, I mean, with me being on defense and just seeing it from a different perspective, so, I mean, that's helped me tremendously from my transition from going to tight end, receiver, whatever. But that definitely helped me a lot just because I know you kind of get a feel for different concepts and stuff, and where a linebacker, where a nickel or Sam, where their drop's supposed to be, where they're supposed to be sitting down, or if they're going to run with you and everything. So that's definitely helped me in my transition.
Hey, Ryan, just watching you
Talk with
over the
the
course of the season, it seemed like in that Tulane game, it seemed like things really started to click. It seems like the coaching staff started to find some really creative ways to get you the football. You had a few look like some jet sweeps. It must have been very exciting for you to begin to get the football. Is it a situation where you're just kind of growing within the offense and getting more comfortable with the playbook as the season goes on?
Yeah, I definitely would say so. I mean, we have so many weapons. It's kind of tough for someone to just mainly get the ball, but I mean, once they like me doing the jet sweeps and stuff, I feel like it was with me doing that kind of showed everyone like my athleticism and what I could do and everything like that. So, I mean, but we have so many weapons on the offensive side. It's tough for one person to just shine really, but
Absolutely. Well, that was fun to see. I'll tell you, I thought it was a creative wrinkle in the offense, and it was fun to see you get the ball in space like that and run a few people over. So I'm hoping we see a lot more of those type of plays in the second half.
yeah, yes, sir.
Ryan, obviously, the tight end room is pretty solid at East Carolina with you, Shane Calhoun, some of the other guys. Were you surprised when you got here? I guess last year, technically, with the talent level on offense at East Carolina. I mean, obviously coming from Oklahoma, a Big 12 school, or is it kind of what you expected?
Talent wise, I feel like our offense we can compete with the best of the best. I mean, we have a lot of talented guys. We have guys that can make plays in space. We have guys that can contested catches. We have two great running backs. I mean, we have a great O-line. Like, we have a great team. And I feel like the only thing like that's getting in the way of fully showing that is we just have to ourselves just have to play 4 complete quarters. Like we have a lot of weapons.
Ryan, talk back to we're talking about the tight end room. We were talking about that in the previous before Coach Houston, we didn't really have a tight end, maybe one, but they didn't use them. But now with Coach Donnie Kirkpatrick, offensive coordinator, and a Coach Houston and the offensive coaches, I know that they've made a huge emphasis on your position. How does that make you feel? Was that the reason why you came to East Carolina?
Yeah, I mean, it was a room where we had guys with a lot of talent. I mean, Shane, he's going to be a great tight end once he's done at ECU. And I mean, our room, I feel like, is more like a brotherhood in our room. Like, we all practice real well. We all hang out with each other, everything like that. So, I mean, it's really like a brotherhood and from offense just in our group alone. So, it's really like a family on this team. That's what I really appreciate and like being here.
Yeah, like you're saying, Shane had that game up at Marshall, 8 catches, over 100 yards, the best performance by an East Carolina tight end in nearly 30 years.
Yeah.
And then, a couple games after that, you had a coming out party of sorts, like Matt referenced, catching passes and also, a few jet sweeps mixed in there, getting the ball to you in a variety of ways. And then you have a guy like Aaron Jarman, and Zach Bird, who are really factoring in as blockers.
Could you repeat your question? I think it cut off or something.
Yeah,
he was
absolutely.
Go ahead, Bubba.
Just piggybacking off of what Matt was saying, and in terms of you bring different things to the table than Shane does, and then you have Aaron and Zach. Not that you and Shane are not good blockers by any means, but they factor in. We use this 2 and 3 tight end sets where Aaron and Zach get in and play a prominent role in blocking.
Yeah, I mean, our room is filled with real diverse guys. I mean, Aaron and Zach, they can run routes and make catches too. So, I mean, I feel like we just I'm in a room with a great bunch of guys, great people. I mean, the guys work hard. We work really well as a team and as a unit. So, I mean, I'm in a great spot.
Ryan, obviously Houston
Ryan,
Houston up first Saturday down in Texas. But when we come back after a short week, next Thursday night, South Florida, ESPN, blackout under the lights. Does that get you juiced up at all,
Yes,
knowing
sir.
you're going to be the only game going on a Thursday night on ESPN with a blackout, or is it just just like another game?
I mean, anytime you about to play on TV, it's always you get that feeling. I mean, every game is special. I mean, you never know when it could be your last game, so you gotta be appreciative for every game. But I mean, that Thursday night game will definitely be nice. And I mean, Boneyard is for us the only hole I think is like 50,000. That place gets loud, so it's a nice place to play at.
Kind of going off that, obviously, this is your first year in the program here at East Carolina as far as being able to experience crowds, be it home or away. But talk about your time at Oklahoma. What were some of the top venues in addition to there at home that you had the opportunity to play in, maybe the toughest road venue?
I'd say home games would definitely be whenever we played West Virginia at home, when we played TCU at home, those games always got pretty loud. But the best game that I ever played in was the OU Texas game, the Cotton Bowl. That whole just experience, the drive down there, the pregame, the entire week, it's just so much going on. And I think it's like for the whole student, it's like our fall break. So like the entire school's down there, it's just a crazy experience. Crazy experience.
Ryan, speaking of which, what about this past week with the Red River rivalry there? What a instant classic. Do you have friends still on the team? Did you get a chance to reach out to them and ask them about that game? Incredible game.
Oh, I think
Ryan, did you hear Dave's question? Like we have some connection issues, guys.
I think Ryan might be locked up. Can you hear us, Ryan?
Got the old
We'll have to get him back.
Ryan, if you can hear us, sign out and sign back in like you did earlier when you were having the issues with the audio.
Technology, you gotta love it. Somebody's dog calling.
Matt, is that your dog?
That is my killer dog in the background, guys. Once again, the virtual world, technology, just trying to find a quiet room in the house can be difficult sometimes.
Yeah, and this is episode 1 of the Locker Room, guys. This will get smoother as we go when we get more comfortable with the guys and the guys get more comfortable with us. So this is episode 1, and just like when Ryan transferred from Oklahoma to East Carolina, is always growing pains, and this thing will get better each episode.
Okay, Kyle, we have Ryan back.
Yeah, Ryan, I was just asking about did you get a chance to talk to your former teammates in Oklahoma about the Red River rivalry?
Yeah, I wasn't able to catch up with them, but my 2 old roommates, Isaiah Thomas and Jalen Redmond, they're main guys, their defense. I mean, I feel like they probably went through the same thing we went through when we played Marshall. I mean, anytime you have a comeback like that, it's just a crazy feeling, especially if you get the win from that. It's just all your hard work you do from the entire offseason. Like games like that, that's when it pays off. So I mean, I know what they felt.
What was the best locker room celebration so far this year? Marshall or Tulane or what?
I would say for away would definitely be Marshall, but I mean for home, that Tulane game was fun. I mean, just the way that we beat them boys down was and then just the way how excited everyone was and how everyone got to play. Really, it was just a great feeling being in that locker room.
Ryan, you're a pretty big guy, about 6'3", 250 pounds roughly, if I'm not mistaken. The idea of matching you up on some of these smaller DBs, I know you can't give too much away. You don't want the opponents to hear it, and I know your coaches wouldn't love it. But as we move into the second half of the season, I'd love to see you split out, and I'd love to see some smaller DBs try to match up with with you. Should we expect some wrinkles here in the second half?
Yeah, I mean, we're approaching this new half of the season as a new season, so I feel like we're all just amped up and ready to prove something ourselves. So, I mean, we'll be coming out ready to play Houston for the rest of the year. So, I mean, we'll have some stuff ready.
All right.
No doubt. Well, Ryan, man, thank you so much. Before we let you go, is there tell the fans our favorite video game that you like right now? My son, I know he's playing in the other room, NBA 2K, as we're doing this interview right now.
Yeah.
That's his favorite game. What's your favorite video game?
Yeah, I play 2K. The new 2K just came out. I can't play too much. I'm trying to stay locked in, but yeah, when I have free time, I'm definitely on the game. That's something I like to do.
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming on the first episode here of our locker room, the TSO locker room, and good luck to you guys. Have a safe trip. Good luck to you guys. Talk to you again next week. Appreciate you, man.
All right, appreciate it. Appreciate y'all.
Good luck, Ryan.
Good luck to you. All right, Ryan Jones there, and good luck to them and the Pirates, guys. It's going to be what's the line now? Have you guys seen? Was it 14? The last time I heard.
Last I saw, Dave, it's 13.
Okay. So coming down, I thought it'd be more, Matt, like guys are like a 7 to 10 point game in favor of Houston. It's a home game for them, all that kind of stuff. But I guess we still have a few more days before the line maybe break more towards, I think realistically 10 points is what I was thinking. What do you think, guys?
Line's line. Vegas creates those lines for a reason, but they get them right more times than not. But every week there's upsets, and they miss some big. So I honestly think we can win this football game, even though we're 14-point road dogs. Particularly now that you're getting in the middle of the season, don't win very often. I really believe we can win this football game. I think Houston's good. I think they're a bit overrated. Just when you look at their schedule, now they beat everybody like they should, but I really don't know that they've been tested beyond that Texas Tech game, and they lost that game. So I think the Pirates can win this game. I think 14 points and now 13 is a bit healthy on that spread, but we'll see what happens. Sometimes it's matchups. I haven't gone over the matchups. It could be that this just isn't a good matchup for us. But we'll see what happens when we tip it off. Is it 4 o'clock on the U, guys? Is that right, Bubba?
Yeah, 4 o'clock on ESPNU.
So interesting 4 o'clock kickoff. You don't see that very often. Most of the time it's 3:30. But I'm glad it's not a night game. With playing on Thursday, I wish it was an earlier afternoon game, but at least it's not a night game. The guys will have a chance to get home and get in bed before 4 a.m. or something like that as we get ready for the short week against South Florida.
Well, Bubba and Kyle, are you guys going to come to Greenville with me if we win the? I know it'll be tough for Matt. He'd have to start driving way before the game. But what about meeting the Pirates at the airport if they win?
We beat Houston. I plan to be there. That would be a huge win against a 5-1 football team. I plan to be there if we pull it off and meeting the boys at the airport. Like I said, 4 o'clock kickoff. It won't be so outrageous when they get home, actually. So, I would encourage all Pirate fans, if you can make it out Saturday night, if the Pirates pull it off, let's have a big crowd show up at the airport there, Pitt Greenville Airport, or whatever the hell it's called now.
Pitt Greenville, you were right. No doubt. Matt, I tell you what, if you were closer by, I know you very well. You're a hardcore guy. I know you would be there if you could, man.
Oh, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. That's one of the things I hate about living in the Northeast. I'm so far removed from the program. If I had it my way, I'd be at every game, but it's just not doable at this point. But I'll tell you, I'm excited about this Houston matchup. I like the fact that we're catching them coming off of a bye week. There really shouldn't be anything that they present offensively that we haven't seen on film. I think we'll be prepared to play. I think we should be pretty healthy too. You had a week to sort of work out the bumps and the bruises. I also like the fact that we're coming off of a rough loss against UCF, a game that we should have won, which, tells me that we probably had a few weeks of very tough practices. I expect to see a motivated team to go try to get a win in Houston. And I agree with Kyle. I mean, there's the spread, it's a 13, 14-point spread, but there's by no stretch is this a game that's unwinnable. If we play a solid game, if we don't turn the ball over, we can absolutely win. I think the main thing too is when we get in the red zone, we have to score touchdowns. We can't settle for field goals, and we certainly can't turn the ball over. So I expect a very close game either way, and we can definitely walk out of there with a win.
Kyle, I think Kyle's been onto something right there too, and this is a situation where I tell you what, I'll say this: if any team in the American takes ECU for granted, takes the Pirates for granted, you better watch out. This is a dangerous team. They're one of those teams, Matt. You were on teams that they're starting to see that they have like they were saying, they have a lot of talent on this team. They're starting to put it together. You're seeing, I've heard the cliche so many times, but flashes of greatness. You see, if we can put together a solid game, we were so close. Definitely on defense, we did that, but on offense, we need to do that as well.
No doubt. I'll tell you, and just to make a point too, I was impressed with both of those guys. Both very humble guys. Talked a lot about the team. The team concept, and I even tried to get Ryan joking around a little bit about, splitting him out as a wide receiver and beating up on some smaller DBs, and he kind of brought it back to the team. So I was pretty impressed with that, and that's definitely the type of, culture I'm sure Mike Houston wants.
Matt, you also, when you were talking about that tough, some people, you can take it two ways when you lose a tough game. But the way that those guys, they seem to be very focused. Obviously, those guys know they can compete against anyone. And I think that they went back. I don't know this for a fact, but when you have all that time to prepare for Houston, this is a chance for this team to come out and play really hard. And they're going to come out. We know that because of the coaching staff, they'll play hard. And I think they're very hungry. It's not like where they got to win and, where they could take it for granted. Here's a chance for them to really prove themselves.
I don't know about you two, Matt and Dave, but I kind of wish we'd won that UCF game myself.
Well, I want to win the game.
Nightmares about it.
Yeah, I'm just saying that they will. I'm not saying I want them to lose the game. I'm just saying that they're going to be trying even harder because they knew they had that one and the South Carolina game.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, Dave. You're coming off a loss, off of a bye week. We've had to sit on it another week. We should come out motivated. Houston's also had a bye week. They've had extra time off. They hadn't played. They had a blowout win on a Thursday night. Then they sat on a bye week. I think they've almost had too much time off. Coach Algerson's a good coach. I'm not a fan of him personally. I'm sure, has he approached it like a spring ball situation? Has he given the team extended time off? I don't know. But, I almost wouldn't like being off 17 days they've been off, or they will be off by the time we play them, in particularly the last game they played being a blowout where they checked out about halftime. I wouldn't be surprised if they come out a little flat. So I would try to hit them in the mouth early.
Yeah, hopefully we can win the coin toss, guys, and instead of defer the second half, I take the ball and go down the field and score. I really believe this offense, if you can get a score, then stop, and maybe a score again, you're up like 14-0 early on, stuff like that. Then go ahead and I tell you what, this team is going to be, speaking of being dangerous, this team is going to be dangerous, Matt, when they learn the killer instinct. I think that's the one thing that's been missing for me and being critical of them. But when they learn that killer instinct, when you got your foot on the throat of the opponent, so to speak, go ahead and finish them off, right?
Absolutely. And, you've seen twice this year where we've just been so close to winning games, South Carolina and UCF, so close. We just couldn't come through with the win. It will happen. Like if you look at our progression, the way we're trending, we are going to break through at some point. Hopefully it's this week. But I think that's something, that these guys are learning. It's still an incredibly young team. I mean, it's amazing how many freshmen and sophomores we have in this program. So every win they get, their confidence will grow a little bit more, and you'll see a little more of that. And I just, my big thing, guys, is I just want to see us really use our weapons in the second half of the season. I want to see us aggressive on offense. Just let it fly. We have some tall wide receivers. We have a tight end who's 6'7" in Bird. Let's use him in the red zone a little bit. Let's throw some jump balls. Let's use CJ Johnson. Let's use Ryan Jones. I mean, let's get these guys involved. Let's spread it out and open it up a little bit.
No doubt. When you're talking about that, you saw that smile on his face, but that's one of the things that I was going to say to him. And I know we were running out of time with him. He's got a lot going on, but the thing with Ryan Jones, guys, he is massive as a guy. When you're there, and you probably saw it at the South Carolina game, Matt, that guy is huge. And just to say that on the paper, like 6'3", 250 or whatever, but he is a mismatch, a huge mismatch. When you look at a guy like there, you wouldn't think that he could run as fast as he is, and he's so athletic. And I tell you one thing, the coaches have bragged about him, said that he's learned a playbook, certainly by fall camp. So that's what's so beautiful is to see a guy like him that is, we already had a lot of weapons, but you had a guy like him that's that's the thing about when you have CJ and all the guys, a lot of playmakers on the offensive side.
Yeah, and that's one thing we've got to do a better job of is getting the ball in playmakers' hands. You mentioned CJ. At one point, it was too much trying to get the ball to CJ. Nothing against CJ, but you got to Ryan Jones. You got to find a way to use him. The things like the sweep plays and things like that are a good idea. You got to get the ball in his hand more. You'd like to see even more passes to Keaton Mitchell. There's so many different ways. I'd like to see Keaton. Tyler Snead. He hasn't been as explosive, and he hadn't had as many opportunities to be as explosive on special teams. But I'd like to see Keaton maybe get a chance to return some kickoffs. So there's so many different ways we can be creative with getting the ball in the playmakers' hands. And I'd like to see that a little more in the second half of the season. Is just get the ball in the guys' hands somehow that can make big plays rather than just trying to plod our way down the field.
Hey, you talk about getting the ball into playmakers' hands. You recall under Lincoln Riley, there would be times, I think specifically against North Carolina, occasion comes to mind where we went tempo and we were going so fast, and North Carolina didn't identify that Bryce Williams had lined up basically as a tackle on the wide side of the field, and he was wide open down the seam because the defense didn't pick that up. And doing something like that with the Shane Calhoun or Ryan Jones and getting a mismatch, or maybe running a wheel route, getting a mismatch where you can get Ryan Jones on a linebacker running a wheel route or something like that.
No doubt. Hey guys, what about Josiah Hatfield? I know that was somebody that Jireh Wilson mentioned. He is. Have you guys seen how fast he is? He's incredibly fast as a wide receiver. He's a guy that's one of my X factors as far as being successful to win the ball games. He's a guy that we've got. I know Audie as well, but Josiah Hatfield is one of those guys. Every time he touches the ball, he makes a special play, in my opinion.
Yeah, Josiah's a good player. Need to get the ball in his hands more. Audie's come along quite a bit. You would hope Josiah and Audie getting better would maybe get CJ more focused. And we haven't had a big CJ Johnson game yet this year, so maybe that's coming down the pike here. Like I said, as guys like Audie and Josiah make more plays, less of the attention from the corners and safeties are going to go to CJ, and hopefully it'll open him up to make some big plays, like he did against Cincinnati back in 19.
No doubt. He's a great kid. I think one of the things that they're working with him on is Matt, not his ability. Obviously, he's a hard-working kid, a really good kid, but the defenses have really done a nice job. And I don't mean that in a good way, but they're talking to him. They're getting him out of his game, out of his element. They're pushing him around. They're grabbing his jersey. And the refs, unfortunately, are letting the defensive holding. I'm a defensive guy, but when it comes to the Pirates, there's a whole bunch of holding him. There should be pass interference a lot. But they know that the refs are not going to call that a lot. So if we get burned a couple penalties, that'll save us from a touchdown, But it really frustrates me for the kid, for number 5, that I don't know how to. That's just a tough thing when you can see it from a naked eye.
He's got to calm his emotions. Well, when they realize that stuff isn't affected him as much, they'll stop paying, doing it as much. Right now, it's being coached to get in his head, and they do it, and he's not as effective. And I think part of that's going to come with maturity as he learns to calm down and learn it isn't personal. But what happens is they get in his head, and he gets frustrated, and he starts trying too hard to make a big play. And when you try too hard to make the big play, you don't make the simple play. And he just needs to go out there, stay focused, and realize it's just BS. It's on the field, BS. It ain't personal. Quit getting frustrated. You just play football.
Absolutely. I think there's some things we can do to help him out too. I think we could try to establish him early in games, some very simple wide receiver screens, just get the ball in his hands early, let him build some confidence and get him into the flow of the game. Because I think what happens a lot of times is a full quarter or 2 quarters will go by and he might not have any catches. And then it's kind of hard to get yourself back into the game. So I think there's some things we can do to help him out, like try to get him the ball early. Like I said, simple wide receiver screens just to establish a rhythm on offense. And maybe you can get those corners and safeties to cheat up a little bit. And then you could have like a Josiah take the top off the defense later in the game. So I think those are some things that would help us too.
And guys, not to bring up bad news, but unfortunately we lost 3 players today. Off the team, right, Bubba?
Yeah, we did. Offensive lineman Trent Holler. And Trent had started at least one game this year, if not multiple games. I want to say it was maybe the Charleston Southern or Tulane game. I know for a fact he had started at center. So Trent has entered the transfer portal. And then you also had a young man out of High Point, originally went to Richmond and transferred in as an invited walk-on linebacker, Wister Allen. And the third name is escaping me, but I believe he was of the walk-on variety.
Yeah, Trent Holler is the only one that I know of. Not that they were not important, but as far as someone that played in Matt's 17 games for the Pirates, some would venture that they would say that he would be the future center on this team. So something that hurts, but at the same time, you've been there too, my friend. I remember Ruff and McNeil, he used to always say how much he loved the guys, but he used to love East Carolina more. And so you hate that it happened, but at the same time, you can't allow stuff off the field for that to happen. And it's unfortunate, but at the same time, you got to be smarter than that. So that
play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Yeah. I've seen downtown Greenville claim quite a few football players on this team over the last 30 years. And unfortunately, college kids, they make mistakes. I think you always have to represent the university. You have to represent the team. So I don't know exactly what happened. I'm sure it'll all come out eventually. But obviously, Mike Houston made a decision he felt like he had to make. Now, from a team perspective, this is a huge loss. You're talking about a guy who's now been in the program for a few years. He was the future. And now we essentially have to re-recruit that position, in some ways start over on the offensive line. We didn't have much depth there to begin with. Right. And now you lose a key guy. So it sets the team back. It's, it's just really unfortunate. Now, what do? You might have to change your recruiting philosophy a little bit. Maybe you have to go JUCO. Maybe you have to find a guy in the grad transfer market that can help you a little quicker. But, just not a good situation.
Yeah, like you're saying, you had Bailey Malavic go down in the season opener with that ACL injury against App State, and then Rob Vanderlyn, who was an Oregon State transfer. Rob went down, was at the Charleston Southern game, I think, but Rob had surgery. I think he was going to be able to return. So fingers crossed there that Rob Vanderlyn will be back. In the lineup, whether it's in a starting role or at least a reserve option.
No doubt about it. We definitely have to have. That's the one. I think that's the one position, guys, off the top of my head, that is still that we need to. Of all the ones as far as depth, that's the one that would probably be in last place. Certainly, it's not easy. Offensive and defensive line, as Coach Logan used to say. You remember, Matt, that the defensive linemen don't grow on trees. You can't just pull them off like an apple off a tree. So certainly that's the same way with the offensive line.
Clarification on something, Bubba. Vanderlyn will be back this week, potentially?
That makes sense. That stacks up. I had not heard that, but according to what I had heard regarding his surgery and
what kind of surgery was that he's going to be back that soon?
I don't know. I knew he was out, but I didn't know why he was. I do remember him being out and going down. And how about Westbrook, one of our good friends of the show? He has a comment or two that he had up here. Bobby said, there's so many reasons I want to beat Houston. The main reason is Coach Holgerson's comment about ECU in 2013. He even put it up there. There's a video from WRL Sports Fan. But basically, Matt, if you remember, he's the one that said he couldn't feed his players because of teams like East Carolina. Totally ridiculous. That's bulletin board.
East Carolina and Marshall when he was head coach at West Virginia.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? If I was a player and I scored a touchdown and I'm running by the Houston bench, I might have a few choice words for Coach Holgerson just based on that. I would definitely bring it up to the team this week. I would use anything I could. I'd like to see him eat those words, though.
Yeah, I think he prefers drinking over eating. That's just me personally.
No doubt. Well, it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'll tell you one thing, guys. You were talking about the matchup, the defense, Matt. We're talking about before we go, I want to mention to you guys kind of our preview. We'll do that on Thursday night in the 9:00 hour, by the way, for folks tuning in for our Pirate preview. Matt and guys, I want to ask you this. It looks like to me the matchup I'm looking at early on this week is how our defense of ECU takes on the offense of Houston. What do you think, guys?
I think both sides are important. Houston's got a really good defense, too. They might have the best defense in the league. I know when you think of Houston, you think offense. When you think Dana Holgerson, you think offense. So far, Houston's defense has been really good. They play mostly base. They're very athletic. Now, granted, again, schedule. Texas Tech lit them up. So, how much of that is schedule? They shut Tulsa down pretty good, and Tulsa's got a good offense. So I think it's both sides. I think it's our offense against their defense and our defense against their offense. I think Houston has the advantage on both sides. But at the same time, again, I think it's winnable. But in terms of our defense against their offense, they'll pass the ball a lot. It was mentioned earlier. So our secondary needs to step up. We get pressure on the quarterback and try to force some turnovers.
Something to keep an eye on this year. As we know, Holton's been sacked and pressured far too much. I think sacked 19 or 20 times now through 6 games. And Richard Allsbrook's chiming in saying that Houston has already generated 24 sacks this year. So, so keep an eye on that.
No doubt.
Yeah, and that's like I say, that they do that a lot without bringing the house. So they're a talented football team.
So that's averaging out to four sacks a game. So Matt, as you know, being a former linebacker for the Pirates, that's a great stat, right? You'll take 4 sacks a game, won't you?
That's impressive. That is really impressive, especially if they're getting it done with just their front 4. I think that's from a defensive perspective, if you can get that much pressure with just rushing 4, you're in great shape because that means you can cover on the back end. You can cover all the bases. And that's really where you want to be. So that's pretty impressive. I think, looking at that, we better get the ball out quickly and have some creativity on offense this week to offset that.
It would be a great week for Coach Houston to do what he wants to do, and it actually worked, and that's get the damn running game going and gash people.
Oh, that would be beautiful, and some bubble screens, right, guys? So we're talking about jet sweeps, some bubble screens, some of those short passes that we used to do under Lincoln Riley would be great this week, because that would. You were talking about another thing, Matt, is C.J. Johnson is great. You were talking about getting touches for him. Maybe have some short passes, and then the yards after the catch is what he's really dangerous with as a great athlete. So maybe give him a short pass where he can maybe pick up 6, 7, 8 yards, and it's maybe a 3-yard pass, but he can tackle some yards.
Yeah, I think he's a guy, like, you watch, basketball games, and, coaches try to get certain players shots early in the game
Right.
to build their confidence up. You try to get them going a little bit early. And I think it's the same thing with CJ. We need to find ways to get him involved in the game early and get him, get him into the flow. And certainly those little passes, I mean, they're not that complicated. They're pretty low risk. And I think we should be doing a little more of that with him. So hopefully we see that.
No doubt, guys. I'm excited about this game. Like Kyle said, I think that that we have a shot. The good news is, guys, that we don't like to hear it as fans because we've had 6 straight losing seasons. But the very fact that we're in every single game now, where we have a shot, which means that you have a breakout day on offense, or how about the defense? They they're improving. So you never know what's going to happen. Well, before with the Montgomery administration, we kind of knew what was going to happen. It may be about how much, but it was probably going to be an L. When competitive in every single game. I know, Bubba, we've talked about it ad nauseum about now they're becoming fourth quarter games, and where we have a chance to win. And Matt, your coach was very good. The one thing I'll say, he was very good at being a riverboat gambler. That's why I love Logan so much. If it's 4th and 1, you go for it. And now we have a coach. Look at him. He believes in this team. What was it, that Tulane game? We were 4 out of 5 on 4th down. You know what I'm saying? So go for it as much as you can and have some trick plays. What about it? I don't want to give up anything. I don't know anything, so I don't want to say anything, because the coach is like, how did he know that? And it was pure speculation or a guess. But trick plays, like you said, getting the playmakers on offense. And that defense, man, I'm telling you, the defense, that's the fewest amount of points, I think, for a UCF team in a long time that they had just to win the game, So I think that you always talk about the trajectory of this program. And the reason the South Carolina and the UCF game, those games hurt so much, is because we know we could win them, and we could easily be right now, guys, 5-1. We could have the same record as Houston going into this game. They're 5-1. We could easily be 5-1. And just like they said, that we feel like that we can play against anybody in the country. That's what you guys had in the 90s, Matt, and those teams under Skip Holtz, the championship years, is there's a swagger. And maybe that's not the right word right now, but there's a swagger now you're starting to see with this team that we haven't seen in a long, long time. Not even, I would probably even argue, maybe not even under Ruff's teams, but maybe a little bit of Ruff's teams, but with Lincoln Riley, but certainly with the Skip Holtz and the Logan years, man, that you guys, to beat the Miamis of the world, you beat a whole bunch of great teams back in the day.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, that is one thing our teams had. Like, we had a lot of swagger. We had guys on offense that, good luck covering some of those guys. Maybe they weren't 5-star recruits. Maybe they weren't, getting scholarship offers from Alabama out of high school, but they could play. I mean, they could play. And we had a great offensive system. And I'll tell you, I was very impressed with our defense against UCF, even though, we faced a backup quarterback, and I know they had some injuries. They still have a lot of speed. Yep. Our defense was flying around. I was very impressed with our team's speed that night. I thought that, there were really only like 2 big plays down the field where we had a missed tackle and it wasn't even egregious. It might have been just, a slight missed tackle that led to a big play. But I really saw a defense that's comfortable in the system. We're starting to get a lot of pressure. It looked like guys weren't overthinking. They were just kind of flying around. So I think like right now our defense has more swagger than our offense, which is kind of ironic. We don't see that very often at ECU.
No, we don't, man. As much as we love Lincoln Riley, the defense, we love Rick Smith a lot too, certainly. But it's been a while since the defense have played that aggressive. Talking about, and one more thing before we let you guys go. One thing that has been great on this defense is with under Blake Harrell is opportunistic. I mean, they are flying around, knocking the. How about the emphasis they're putting on turnovers, Matt, has been fantastic. We've been able to get a lot of turnovers that in recent years you'd have a turnover here and there that we would force, but now we have a team that you come to expect it now for our defense.
You really do. I mean, and these corners are playing awesome. Fleming and McMillan, really impressed with those guys. They're making plays. I think the aggressive nature of this defense is going to lead to more turnovers because you're just getting after it. You're blitzing a lot. You're bringing pressure. So that is definitely a huge area of improvement because there was a time a few years back where we weren't creating any turnovers.
Right.
And so it's nice to see that, and I think you'll see more of it as the season goes on.
No doubt about it. Bubba, do you have anything before we go? I guess he can't hear me, but Matt, how about you? Do you have anything before we go?
Just looking forward to the game. We need to come back with this win. We need to start off the second half of the season right, like Kyle mentioned earlier. Every game is winnable. You look at this. You look at the second half. There's not going to be any game on the schedule that we look at and say, "Hey, we can't win this game." So I'm just looking forward to it. I think the big thing is when we get in the red zone, we've got to score touchdowns. We can't turn the ball over. And when we have opportunities to score, we need to take them because the line, there's a fine line for this team between winning and losing. The margin of error is so slim that we just can't afford to march the ball down the field and then not come away with touchdowns. So just looking forward to see how these guys respond coming out of the bye week.
No doubt. Can you say go Pirates? This is my baby girl. Mackenzie, can you say go Pirates?
Go Pirates.
That's right. She loves her Pirates. She wants to be like her daddy and go to ECU, Matt. So
there you go.
No doubt. And we're going to get a win there. But it's going to be a great game again on ESPNU. 4:00 for our Pirate Nation. It's going to be fantastic. We're looking forward to it. Matt, I tell you what, I wish you were here, buddy. We appreciate all that you do for the Sports Objective. And I can't wait in a handful of years. Maybe you'll be down in Greenville with us on a regular basis and like all the home games.
I'm hoping that that's the case. I appreciate you having me on. I really enjoy talking about East Carolina football. And, I'll tell you what, if we beat Houston, I might just make it down for the game the following week, the Thursday night game. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Well, hey, if you need a ticket, if you need a ticket, you always have one with me. No doubt about it, man. Hey, anybody's driving all the way from Connecticut all the way to Greenville, North Carolina for a Thursday night game, and we have a lot of people that won't even drive from, 45 minutes or an hour away, you better believe you'll have a ticket with your name on it. I appreciate you for all you did for the program and all that you continue to do still now.
Hey, thanks a lot, Dave. I appreciate you. Thank you.
No doubt about it, guys. And don't forget, we'll appreciate all our Matt. We have a ton of sponsors right now too, so we want to appreciate all that they're doing for us here for not only for the Sports Objective, but obviously now our new segment we have every Monday called the TSO Lockerroom. So we want people to join us for that, and appreciate obviously Ryan Jones of the offense, and of course Jireh Wilson for the defense. Those guys are going to be balling, no doubt about it. We can't wait for them coming up very, very soon. And anyway, appreciate it, guys. And until next time, we'll let you go, Matt, and we'll see you guys on Thursday night in the 9:00 hour for our Pirate preview as the Pirates are taking on obviously Houston. You've been watching the TSO Locker Room right here on the Sports Objective. Good night, everybody.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? This is Udon Cheek, assistant track and field coach at East Carolina University. You are plugged into the Sports Objective podcast. If you are a fan, you are plugged into the right place. And if you're really a fan, you will share that link. My heart is purple and gold. I'm a pirate down to my soul. And I don't back down, not at all. Find out when the cannons explode. Boom!